This question is from unit 2.6. 2.6, multiplying and dividing rational expressions. So if you have the book, it's on page 123. And it looks very scary, but it's not. So there's a division problem on top, and then the whole thing is also a division problem. So what we do for this equation is first, for the top part, I'm just going to call this part A, and the whole thing, I'm going to say it's part B. So for the top part, you're going to factor it, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to take the m out of that. So it becomes m minus n. And then you're going to switch the order, because instead of division, you're just going to make a multiplication. So now that you have the 2m squared minus mn minus 6n squared on top, that's basically going to get factored into 2m plus 3n inside brackets and m minus 2n. And then on the bottom you have what was on the top, m squared minus n squared. And that is a product, it's a difference of squares. So that is going to be m plus n and m minus n. The order doesn't really matter if you switch those two around. And then for this one, 6m squared plus 11mn plus 3n squared, you're going to factor that into 2m plus 3n and 3m plus n. So you can already tell there's a lot of common factors going on. So I'm going to take this pink Sharpie. I'm going to take this pink Sharpie to cross out the common factors. So 2m plus 3n and this 2m plus 3n are obviously common factors. Take the green to do the other two. So m minus n and m minus n over here are common factors too. So then I'm going to rewrite the equation, taking out all of these common factors. So that's going to be m over 3m plus n times m minus 2n over m plus n. So that's the rewritten, simplified kind of equation. And now what you're going to do is you're going to basically add both of them together. So you're going to multiply it. So the product, there's 2. The product of m and m minus 2n is m times m minus 2n. I'm not going to FOIL that. And then 3m plus n and m plus n. Not going to FOIL that either. It's just going to be m plus n. And now we have part B on the bottom that we're also dividing by. So if we write that down, if we write, so just so you can see that, I'm going to write m minus 2n over 3m plus n, m plus n, which is just what we had come up with as the total, the product up over here. So then I'm going to divide it by the number we had on top at first. The number we had on the bottom, sorry. So that number was 4m plus n in brackets and m minus 2n over 3m plus n in brackets and m plus 2n. So now this is going to become a multiplication problem. So we're going to switch this order around a little bit. So that's going to become three m plus n and m plus 2n on top, and 4m plus n and m minus 2n on the bottom. And now we can go and start crossing out common factors. So m minus 2n is a common factor. And I'm going to use a different color. I'm going to use this green. 3m plus n is a common factor. So now we're left with m and m plus 2n and m plus n and 4m plus n. So that's what we're left with, and we can say that this is the final answer, but we still have the restrictions to figure out. So when we're looking for the restrictions, sorry if you can't see that clear. When we're looking for the restrictions, I'm just going to rewrite the final answer. Oops, sorry for that. I'm going to rewrite the final answer, which was m plus 2n over m plus n 4m plus n. But now we are looking for the restrictions. I'm just going to write that on top so we don't forget. And this one is already going to have a lot of restrictions because we can't just look at the restrictions for this denominator. We have to look for restrictions for all of these denominators that we did on the last page. I'm just going to fold it over a little bit. So all of these denominators are going to be important too. So the first denominator I'm going to take that we did was 3m plus n. I'm going to list them all down. I'm not going to do an equal sign. 3m plus n. Another denominator we did was m plus n. So I'm going to have that down, m plus n. Another one we did was 4m plus n. 4m plus n, that one was down here. Then we did m minus 2n. M minus 2n, that one was down here. Then we had all the denominators we had m minus n. I'm going to show you where that is in a second. M plus 2n and 2m plus 3n. So m minus n, where was m minus n? M minus n was over there, 2m plus 3n was over there, and m plus 2n. M plus 2n was right over there. So we've had pretty much all the denominators. So now what we're going to do is to set them up to not equal 0. So we all know a restriction is where the graph just can't be. So we all know the denominator can't equal 0 because graphs don't work like that. So basically we can treat this not equal 0. We're trying to get m on its own side, right? So we're going to have 3m equals negative n because we're going to move the n over to that side. Then we're going to divide the m by 3. And so now we have that m equals negative 1/3 n. So that is a restriction that we have. And then we have m plus n can't equal 0. So we're going to move the n to this side, and so that's negative n. So m can't equal negative n. For m, we're going to move the negative n onto that side, divide it by 4 on this side, and that is going to give us negative 1/4n, and that is another one that m can't equal. M can't equal 2n, so that is something else. M can't equal positive 2n, because we brought it over to this side. what do we have? Yeah, m can't equal n. This, we can already tell this number has a ton of restrictions. M can't equal, we're going to bring the positive 2n to the other side, so it becomes negative 2n. So m can't equal negative 2n. And then 2m can't equal negative 3n. We can simplify that a little bit more, and then we'll have m can't equal negative 3 over 2n. So if you want to write all the restrictions that we had all together, that's going to be m can't equal, okay, this is a bad marker. I'm going to have m, okay, so there is the final, is the work, and I'm going to have m can't equal, sorry, negative 1/3 n, negative n, negative 1/4 n. Was this positive or negative? It was positive 2n, n, negative 2n, negative 3 over 2n. So these are all the restrictions for this certain division problem. So there's your answer.